Hey everybody, welcome to Valentine TV. I just thought I would do a recap and also started private investigator on here too, y'all. The PI on here talking. So I wanted to she's gonna do just a little bit of the recap to bring us all back up to speed because y'all know it's been since September 8th. I remember that day. But anyway, mm, that's the day my mom passed, y'all. That's why. Anyway, okay, she's gonna give us a recap, and then she's gonna also talk to the PI that's giving us all this information, you know, and yeah. So let's just get started with this, okay? Here we go. And as you come, y'all, I got this as y'all can see on the screen from Crime Fix, and this is Valentine TV. As you come in, please hit that like button and subscribe and share the video. But please subscribe, y'all, because I'm trying to. This kind of content, I think I'm going leaning towards solving crimes and stuff, but I need more subscribers. I do. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going until I get it. God got it. All right, here we go, y'all. Let's see what's going. Let's recap, and then she's gonna go into talking to the PI. That's the part I want to see.
New details are coming to light nearly 2 months after a badly decomposed body of a teenage girl was found in a Tesla belonging to viral artist David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. The 20-year-old has been quiet since workers at a tow yard realized a horrific smell was coming from the trunk. And while investigators are remaining tight-lipped about 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death, a private investigator has uncovered many interesting pieces of information, including pill bottles found at a home where the singer had been living.
They said it was opioids too, y'all. That's what I heard.
That add even more layers to this mystery. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix.
And just FYI, I have not watched this. I wanted to watch it with y'all, okay? So I don't know what's going to happen. I know I seen the PI on here, but I don't know what he said yet. So I'm watching it with y'all, okay?
If you ever get hurt, you might
Oh,
need
let me
someone
jump
in your
ahead.
corner to
Sorry.
fight for you, and right there on your screen.
All right, here we go, y'all. Sorry
You
about
know,
that.
people all around the world are following the David case out of Los Angeles. Back in September, the Texas native had been living in a luxury rental home in the swanky neighborhood of Hollywood Hills, getting ready to go on an international tour. But everything came crashing down back on September 8th. That's when workers at Hollywood Tow Yard realized that a horrific, disgusting smell was coming from a Tesla that had been impounded days earlier. The Tesla had been cited for staying parked in the same spot for too long and was eventually considered abandoned and towed away. Authorities would later discover that the Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke. That, of course, is David. And I want to be clear, Los Angeles police have not named David as a suspect, at least not publicly. In fact, no one has been identified as a possible perpetrator. But the
It is no suspect or anything in this case, y'all. And y'all know this is a reaction channel, so yes, I have to stop it. I cannot just play it straight through, okay? But the crime fix, it will be in the description of my video, okay? All right, here we go.
investigation is ongoing. In the meantime, David hired Blair Burke. She's a high-profile criminal defense attorney who's worked with the clients like Harvey Weinstein, Bruno Mars, Britney Spears, and Lindsay Lohan, among others. It took the medical examiner more than a week to identify the body in the trunk as 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The LA Times reported the remains of a head and torso were inside a bag in the trunk. A statement from the medical.
See, you remember at the beginning they said uh like cut cut and chop chop. And then they said It was the whole. It wasn't like that. Now they saying it again. Just this and this. That's it. So where are these and these the runners at? The arms and legs. All right. See, now we're getting to it because see that private investigator's there, but he didn't see her body. I don't think. So let's just keep going.
Medical examiner's office said in part, the decedent was found severely decomposed inside a vehicle. She appears to have been deceased inside the vehicle for an extended period of time before being found. An official cause and manner of death have not been released. For now, it's listed as deferred. The LAPD has not ruled out the possibility that this was an accidental death. It sounds like all options are currently on the table. In another statement, the LAPD said the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of Ms. Rivas Hernandez's death. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body.
How do they know? I mean, concealment. The concealment. They found pills, and y'all know they found farm equipment, and some was new. One of the packages was new, like it had been ordered, and they said there was no reason for it to be there. You can only use it at a farm setting, farm place.
Early reports suggested that Celeste's body was dismembered, but the medical examiner has only said her remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. You heard me read that statement earlier, and that Celeste had been dead in that vehicle for some time. But so many questions remain. Why abandon the car near the rental home? Just leaving it on the street to be impounded? Was somebody not thinking clearly? Celeste and David, they appear to have been connected. For example, a tattoo on Celeste's right index finger, which read, shh. It turns out that David has a very similar tattoo on his own hand. After news of Celeste's death spread like wildfire and how her body was found, David canceled his tour. And he went radio silent on social media, where he has millions of followers. He eventually moved out of the rental home, but not before LAPD came in and searched that property. According to LA Magazine, officers reportedly collected electronics, computers, and even searched the drains for traces of blood or tissue. The home's owner says he wasn't getting a lot of answers about whether the multi-million-dollar crime might be connected to something nefarious. So he hired private investigator Steve Fisher to dig into.
That is crazy. That is crazy. This is the first time I ever knew who hired the private investigator.
Everything. We are going to speak with Steve Fisher in just a moment to find out the latest on what he's learned. One thing he told me, prescriptions for opiates were found at the house, but he told me he doesn't know who they were prescribed to. And he said he has no reason to believe they weren't there for anything other than a legitimate use. I want to be clear about that. But first, some backstory on how we got here and David's apparent connections to Celeste. The teen was apparently a chronic runaway, having been reported missing from Lake Elsinore, California, by her family several times. The latest report came in May of 2024 when she was just 13. Family members have since said that she had a boyfriend that they hadn't met. But guess what? His name was David. Despite the age difference, Celeste and David seemed to spend a lot of time together. She made appearances on David's social media and his Twitch streams. Others who spent time with the singer say they knew about Celeste, but didn't know.
Y'all know that her brother knew that her and David was going to the movie, so she had to go out the house to get in the car to go to the movie. And I also heard that she went to one of her family members' graduation just a few weeks prior to everything. I think the last time they said she was missing, a few weeks prior to that, she went to a graduation, which happened because somebody did an investigation, another investigation, and she was at a theme park. It's just weird. I put it on. Man.
No, she was so young. They apparently believed she was around 19 years old. 19, 13, 14. big difference. Earlier this month, a TMZ reporter asked LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman about the case and its status. Hochman said, "It is currently under investigation. We don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office and we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you are one of the first to know. A case has not been presented to our office for filing consideration." So to discuss the very latest in this case, I want to bring in Steve Fisher. He is a private investigator who works on missing persons cases, and he's involved in this case. He was actually hired to work this case by the person who owns the house where David was living. It's near the area where the Tesla was found with poor Celeste's body in that front.
He said, "Y'all ain't gonna get me hemmed up in here. Hey, I'm gonna get a private investigator and come. The LAPD ain't telling me nothing. David's manager ain't telling me nothing. David ain't saying nothing. I own this property. Y'all ain't gonna get me hemmed up. Let me go hire a PI."
Trunk. So, Steve, I saw your tweet over the weekend. Very interesting to me. What is the very latest? Because it sounds like you have some suspicions that maybe, despite Celeste being reported missing at certain times by her family, potentially maybe they knew where she was, or they weren't informing the police at all times that, hey, she was at the house, they would see her at times, etc. So fill me in.
Yeah, so that's basically where my frustration comes from, is not filling the police in. That you file a missing persons report, that's put into NCIC database, which is an FBI database, and law enforcement is working on that case. And when you file that, you also have a responsibility that if you have contact with the missing person, whether it be electronically or in person or anything, that you have a responsibility to notify law enforcement about that.
And it's twice her family knew. That she came home and her family did not tell. Twice that I know about.
I've since learned that there's documented cases after that report was filed of her showing up at a graduation for her cousin. And I think it's safe to assume there was probably other family members at that graduation as well. She also showed up, we've seen the video that's been released of the apartment complex next door to her house, where she showed up in September, was arguing with people in that house. And there was another photo of her at some sort of family event. So it is frustrating that somebody didn't call law enforcement and say, hey, she has shown up here, because what they do is then law enforcement goes and they investigate that, and they see if there's a reason that CPS needs to be involved, or why the child is running away and what's going on, and to keep them safe.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm a parent.
Mm-hmm.
If my kid's not showing up at school, guess what? I get a phone call.
Exactly.
My kid's not showing up at school for an extended period of time, I'm in big trouble with the law.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like a lot was going on here. A lot was falling through the cracks with Celeste. And is there any suspicion that the family potentially knew that she was hanging out with David?
Well, so I've had no communication with the family, just to be upfront.
Okay.
But it was reported right at the beginning, that one of the ways that an ID was done, or they thought that Celeste was the person that shrunk, is because another outlet had a conversation with the mother, and she said that she knew of a boyfriend named David. And there's also.
And y'all, I want y'all to look at that face. Does she look 19 to you? And what does she look like? She is just I don't know. She looks so sad.
Been images that have come forward on Reddit that show David in Lake Elsinore doing some sort of transaction with a kid. And then we have the teacher, somebody recording the teacher speaking about this, that Celeste was in his class and she had run away, and then she was picked up in the Hollywood Hills and brought back, then ran away again. I think that there's a strong possibility they knew. And it's important to realize that she's in, I think, 7th grade, maybe 8th. But this is a very young child, and you can't just let them drop out of school at 7th grade, to go live in the Hollywood Hills.
Because it would be a lot of children out of freaking school. But darn, like I told y'all yesterday when I did the update, that when I do this one particular story, it really makes my head hurt, because I can't understand how a parent Unless I wonder if David was paying the parents, because remember they did in the Discord or somewhere it was said that Celeste's sister was pimping her out. You know?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
No, she's a child.
Yeah.
She's a child.
Yeah.
You know, you were hired, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, to investigate by the owner of the home where David was living. So, are there any new details that you've been able to glean from your investigation as to what may have been going on in this home?
Yeah. So, one thing I want to be clear about is, I do have a scope on my, investigation. In other words, I'm not going outside of things that originated at the house or things that happened with the cars that were normally parked at the house. So I'm not going out and trying to solve this case. I'm not working side by side with the LAPD or stepping on their investigation.
Let's see what they got. What y'all see in there? Now this from TMZ. Now I ain't got this close in a long time. Sure, I can't tell nothing but a ladder, pipe. Dang, I wonder what that darn other Tesla had.
Is all contained to the owner wants to know what happened or didn't happen at his house because he had no idea that David was even living there because he wasn't on the lease, and much less Celeste. So in that investigation, I'll tell you there was a lot of things that were left behind, even though after the search warrant, David, I guess through his management, did send movers to come move stuff out, but they left a lot of stuff behind. And then they gave over possession of the house. So, we went through those things, and there was a lot of evidence that shows who had been there a lot. And then we also collected some surveillance from neighboring houses that showed vehicles coming and going and vehicles that were parked there for extended periods of time. And we've been able to, in talking with neighbors, what they saw. And also that community has their own private armed security company that is 24/7. And, I've talked to them about what they've seen and noticed and any reports that they had. And there was only one written report for a noise complaint, but they're still familiar with the area and who comes and goes.
And you know what? If, like he said, it was farm equipment there also, like the farm equipment that could take you out, right? That could a person. So when David got his stuff, I wonder why he didn't even take that. So the police didn't take it. David didn't take it, because so it must not have been any kind of residue on it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So for David not to even take it, but the police seemed like they would have took it and did some tests on that thing. Since you know what they found and what they didn't find, some had to cut it up, right? Excuse me for talking this way, but YouTube.
Vehicles are normal to the area and what aren't.
Interesting. I know you've been talking to my my buddy Jesse Weber about this a lot on Sidebar. And you've been working this case, and I know you're not trying to step on the toes of the cops as they investigate this case, and they've been choosing their words very carefully. Is there anything that you've learned that has been shocking or surprising to you in this case?
Well, so first of all, LAPD is not sharing any information with us. We're not getting anything more than the public's getting.
Right.
They take information from us, but they don't comment on it, and that's typical. But I think that their believe their only press release that they came out with, I think was somewhat telling. And they said, the only criminal culpability in this case, there may be nothing beyond concealment of a body. And I think that's kind of setting people up to kind of get people to calm down a little bit and say, listen, this might be something like an overdose, or God forbid she took her own life or something. And they made a really poor decision most likely because they didn't want to expose the relationship. And they made a horrible decision in concealing her body. That's not homicide,
Oh, sorry.
although it's an
Sorry.
overdose, there are some factors that if they can prove who supplied those, then that could come in. But I don't know. That was
But who did the cutting? You know what I'm saying? You said it was only the head, a head, and a torso. So somebody had to do the other part. I'm sure she didn't do it, right? What y'all think? What y'all think?
that statement to me very much felt like it was, listen, lower your expectations. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully there's more going on.
I took it as it could be lower your expectations. It also could have been like everybody calm down and maybe calm down other people so that they cooperate as well.
That's what I think.
That could be too. And, I would think so. One thing we definitely learned from we have a lot of imagery that was not from this Discord. There's a lot out there anyways, but we have some that wasn't out there. So we really have a good idea of who his core group of people were that were around a lot, and they were at that house a lot. And I think it would be hard for some of those people not to know something was up. There was a shift in behavior as far as like the Tesla wasn't being used anymore. I just think that they were a tight enough group that at least one or two of them probably knew. I would think
his best friend's name is Neo. Neo, he's the best friend, and the other girl, Alice, Alicia, something. Anyway, it's another girl, right? Well, I assume she's over 18. And Neo, I heard that him and David, you, y'all know what I'm saying? I heard him and David. And then I heard that more than just David lived in that house. It was multiple people that lived there with David, in and out all the time. What that sound like to y'all? You know? So,
those people would be cooperating with LAPD right away if they didn't have a hand in anything. Everybody knows first one there probably gets a deal. I don't know if that's the case or not, though. It's been incredibly quiet. Like his friends have not made a statement online. These are people that live online.
Right.
He hasn't made any statements online. So I don't know if he's provided them counsel as well, possibly.
tell me he don't look like it. He act like it. His friend act like it. And it can't, and this, I start watching him harder. Once I don't know how I want, excuse that expression, y'all. But that's what I heard, okay? And then just like the PI said, people were there a lot. And there's people that live there besides David. Other people live there, and they had another house. And then he got another $1 million or something townhouse, whatever they call it. All right.
And everybody's just doing a very good job of being quiet or what's going on. I would think there'd be some cooperation there, but I also think that that's probably ended once Blair Burke gets involved. You got to think that, if they're questioning, they're Mirandizing them. And I got to think that they're probably not letting them speak too much or too openly if they have counsel, if somebody has, a big exposure here.
It does seem like, circling the wagons. That's what it feels like. They're circling the wagons. Nobody say anything. Everybody be quiet. He cancels his tour. He doesn't say a peep. Maybe that's the advice he's getting, but it does have that.
You know what? If he wasn't a suspect, I wouldn't have canceled my tour. I wouldn't have canceled my damn tour if they said he wasn't a suspect. He wasn't anything. He wasn't involved. He wasn't involved. He wasn't a suspect. Why you cancel your tour then? Why? I'd have kept on rolling then, making that money. Why you stop? He probably still making money from TikTok, you think? Y'all think?
He's getting, but It does have that feel to it. And maybe Blair Burke comes in and she's like, okay, what happened? Let's figure this out. She's going to deal with the cops. But you know who moved the car, right? You're the one,
Yeah.
you figure, you have the video, you know who moved the car. So
Right.
that's a big clue right there. Are you willing to share with us yet who moved the car?
Can't share who it was. And the thing about that is, though I 95% feel she was in that front trunk of the Tesla.
Did y'all hear him say it? Yeah, I know it wasn't, and then he just skipped and kept talking. Y'all, was he gonna say it wasn't David?
I
What?
95% feel she was in that front trunk of the Tesla when
Gosh,
it was moved. I
I ain't
can't
go
prove
back
that because
to
there's no video that I have. LAPD might have a video of her being put in the vehicle. I can't even put her at the house. So I can't share. I don't want to share who that is because I do think that would really step on LAPD's toes. And that's not the intention here. It's not to put the information out first. What it was is to find out what's going on in the house and letting people know that we do know some information. So if you wanted to contact me, and people have contacted me, and I'll tell you, there's an incredible, and this is what I wonder about LAPD. They're very capable, but it's a whole different era as far as everything's happening on Discord and everything, and the capability for them to really go through and scrape everything out of there. I know that they are getting it directly from Discord in a database form, but it's all, everybody uses handles and fake names and stuff, and to figure out who's who, it takes a while to really map this whole thing together, and so maybe that's part of the delay. But there was an incredible amount of information in the Discord server alone.
Wow. I know there's been a lot on Reddit about this. I mean, people are interested. It's a mystery. People want to know what happened to Celeste and if David was involved. There's a lot on TikToks. David.
I was gonna say, Reddit ain't no joke. It's like TikTok. They found stuff. They said, look for this, look for that, man. Reddit was finding it just like the TikTokers. I was like, you go Reddit, ain't it? I just been on Reddit a little while, not even a year, not even 6 months.
It talked about mental health issues like bipolar disorder. Do you think the internet rumor mill is helping or hurting in this case?
I think it's helping.
So at the beginning, I think Reddit was like this incredible source. There were some people that did some amazing digging and turned up some stuff that probably wouldn't have been brought forward. But as this is dragged on, and now I feel that's turned. We see this a lot where it's just people need something right away, so they're just coming out with wild speculations, or they're just there to basically cause drama about every single thing. Basically, everybody starts turning on it, and everybody, and especially on investigators. I get it. I don't even go there anymore. But at the beginning, it was a huge asset because people were like, "Hey, I pulled this from the Discord. I got this. I found this person was tagged in this," and it was great. But now I think it didn't hit this threshold where it was like there wasn't really any new information. So it was like, let's just turn it ugly, and then it starts doing damage, and that's where for investigators, that's where it loses its the benefit, and it maintains that kind of that bad name. So, but at the beginning, I think it was helpful.
Sorry about that, y'all. I forgot. I almost forgot to stop it. They was having a darn battle on the darn news. I wanted to turn the computer over there, but anyway,
not so much anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the internet stuff there can be some like amazingly good sleuths on Reddit. I mean, like some of this stuff people turn up is amazing. However, it can also be a big dumpster fire. So you got to be careful with all that stuff.
But there are amazing. So, you look at Don't F with Cats, the documentary, and it shows that there are some people out there that have some amazing ability to, uncover these things. And in fact, Body from that documentary is one of the people that I consult with on cases. And so there are some really helpful people, but then, the ugly side comes out.
Well, Steve Fisher, it's been so great talking with you. We will keep a close eye on.
All right, y'all. So now we know who the PI is. Some of y'all probably already knew, I'm behind. Y'all know I'm always behind sometimes, but I try. It's just this case right here. I can't wait for them to find out who did that to this little girl. I just cannot wait. Y'all, please subscribe to Valentine TV. It's not just boring all the time. Look at some of my other videos if you like to. Just the first one's got the bloopers. Then be the first ones of the day, just like this one is. So, y'all, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow so I can make a difference, okay? All right. Thank y'all so much, and I'll talk to y'all later. And don't forget, this was from Crime Fix on YouTube. All right. And this is Valentine TV. Please come back. All right. Come back and subscribe now. All right, hit that like button, and I'll talk to y'all later, okay? Bye, y'all.